Hi everyone, Wren here. Thanks for joining me. And today you're joining me in your room. So this is going to be yoga for when you don't feel like getting out of bed. We definitely all have those days, but no excuse not to get a little bit of movement and breath in our bodies. So all you're going to need for today's class is yourself, your bed, a couple pillows, and if you have something like a t-shirt lying around nearby or a pillowcase or a sock, we'll use that. So we're going to get started scooting all the way back with a seat on a pillow or two. It kind of depends. I have this nice thick foam one, so I'm just going to use that. If your pillows are a little thinner, you might want to sit on more than one. But we want the pelvis to tilt slightly forward, not enough that we're kind of splaying forward, but so that if your pelvis were like a cup or a bowl, it would be slightly spilling forward so that the tailbone is uncurled. We usually tuck the tailbone under and kind of sit like this all the time. We want to tip that tailbone back behind us. If it's not comfortable for you to sit with your legs crossed, you can have them out in front of you or whatever feels comfortable. So as you start to find that easy seat, you can rest the hands wherever they feel comfortable, close your eyes, and just start to tune into your breath. Noticing the quality and the rate of the breath. Not really trying to judge it or change it in any major way, but notice if it is something that serves you. Notice if it is something that encourages tension to ease out of the body. And notice where in the body it is that you feel that tension. Maybe we're holding a little tension in the face or around the eyes, between the eyebrows. Can we soften those areas? Can we let go of any gripping in the jaw? Creating a sense of spaciousness behind the eyes, in the back of the throat, the roof and the floor of the mouth, all the way from the crown of the head to the floor of the pelvis. Feel an opening or a spreading in front of the heart, and a gentle drawing together the area behind the heart, the shoulder blades. And as we sit here, nothing more than body and breath, notice the ways in which the mind starts to creep in and pull our attention away from the present moment. All we are here now is body and breath. That's all we have in this moment. Everything behind us is remembered. Everything in front of us is imagined. Can we allow ourselves the space to be fully entrenched in the now? Letting go of the past, letting go of expectations about the future, surrendering to this present self, this breath. And take that next inhale a little deeper. Open the mouth, let it go. Twice more. Inhale. Exhale. One more. and out. Letting the breath come and go as it needs to. Blink the eyes open. And then take the hands to the knees. You can choose to stay sitting on the pillow or come off of it. As you exhale, we'll take a cat shape. Round the back, tuck the tail under and tuck the chin to the chest. Then inhale to cow, belly sways forward, shoulder blades pinch towards one another. Gaze lifts and tailbone goes back. Exhale, cat. Inhale, cow. Start to take these at your own pace, synchronizing breath with movement, feeling the forward and backward motion of the spine. Taking one more round forward and back. And then come to a neutral spine. Take your right hand out to the side. Inhale your left arm up and over, little side bend. Exhale and reach. Just a few breaths here. And then inhale through center. Exhale, switch to the other side. Only going as far as makes sense for you right now. There's no need to stress or strain throughout this practice. Let this be easy. Only ever, I would say at the most, 50 to 80% of your flexibility in any one shape. And one more time each side. Coming back through the center. And then we'll inhale, arms up overhead. Exhale, twist your torso to the right, letting your hands come down in front of and behind you. We'll stay here for about 3 breaths. Inhale, lengthen the spine. Exhale, twist only from the belly, sliding your rib cage in the opposite direction of your hips. And then inhale, spine grows long. Exhale, then we bring the twist into the thoracic spine, rib cage and shoulders coming into it. And then inhale once more. Exhale, taking the gaze over the back shoulder. Pause here for a breath or 2. Feeling this gentle, easy twist. And slowly start to unwind. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, twist the other way. Taking that same slow and methodical twist, belly, rib cage and shoulders. Bend the neck. And a gentle unwind. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, bring your hands down in front of you, and then you can move your pillows off to the side for now. We'll come into child's pose, so coming to all fours, stepping the knees wide, toes touch together, sit the hips back. You may notice it's difficult if we have the forehead down to breathe because this is a soft surface. So if you want to turn your head to one side, we'll stay there for a few breaths, and then I'll let you know when to switch. Take your gaze to the opposite side. And gaze back forward and come to all fours. We'll go ahead and step the the right foot forward, starting off on a little bit of an angle. So it's up to you. You can leave this leg at an angle or kind of heel toe it forward. It doesn't have to be perfectly straight. Make sure you have some space between the legs, 2 lanes of traffic instead of a balance beam. Using the muscular engagement of the legs, we're going to start to rock back and forth. We want to keep the movements dynamic here rather than getting into any deep stretches or static holds just yet. We'll start to build some movement, some mobility, and a little bit of heat in the muscles and joints of the legs. Notice as we move, what's the tendency of the breath? Can we keep that nice and smooth? In yoga, especially today, but I'm going to invite you and challenge you to keep this concept in mind in any yoga class that you take, to focus more on your breathing than anything else. The physical postures are there as a means to allow us to challenge ourselves, but the point is to keep equanimity of mind and a smooth and even breath while we do something difficult with the body. The lessons therein to take that ability with us off the mat so that when we come up against something in our lives that causes us to feel friction or to feel challenged, that we can tap back into that sense of calm, that ease of breath. Go ahead and take your hands out in front of you. We'll heel toe this right foot all the way out to the right. If you need to scooch over so that you have room to do so, have your toes facing forward and then we'll come on up. Right hand is going to slide down that leg, left arm up and over. So as we practice this breathing, let that become much more important than the shapes. Now we always want to move through these shapes safely, of course, but be the breather more than the doer. It will serve you well. Take an inhale here. Exhale, start to turn your torso towards your extended leg and really reach through those left fingertips. Inhale, open up. Exhale, twist and reach. Inhale. And once more, exhale. Inhale to come on back up. Exhale, send your hands out in front of you. And we'll switch to the other side, sending that foot forward. And we'll take those leans back and forth to start. Really concentrating more here on strengthening and warming up the legs than those deeper stretches. We'll get there, I promise. And allowing this practice to be a ritual for us to acknowledge that it's okay to slow down. Indeed, collectively, throughout this quarantine, we've all been forced in one way or another to slow down. To go inside, not just physically, but to tune within, to turn within. To attune to what that is that's going on inside of us. Acknowledge it, whether that's frustration, feelings of loneliness, introspection. And can we take this challenge and turn it into an opportunity? What can we learn from this? How can we grow? Of course, we're frustrated, not knowing when any of this will be over. But another lesson that we learned from our yoga practice, certainly we've all been in that class where we're holding that plank for God knows how long. When is this teacher going to guide me out of this shape? There's that uncertainty there. We can turn to our breath as a tool, as a guide, on how to deal, how to cope. Bring your hands forward, setting up for sundial on the other side. Toes face forward towards your screen. Left hand slides down, right arm up and over. And with our exhale, we twist and reach. Inhale, open up. Exhale, close off and reach. Inhale, open up. Once more. Beautiful. Come on back to your all fours. And then we're going to tuck the toes under and then press back. We're going to come into our Malasana squat, our yogi squat. So you can put something underneath your sitting bones for a little bit more support, or you can come away from it. It's entirely up to you. Step your feet wide enough so that your knees and your toes are facing in the same direction. If you notice that your knees start to collapse inward, sit up a little taller, stick your tailbone out behind you, and you can even assist those knees wide with the elbows. Crown of head lifting and pelvic floor relaxed. If you notice tension in the outer hips, see if you can breathe that away. And we'll start to engage and relax the pelvic floor over the next 5 breaths. So the pelvic floor is just like the abdominal diaphragm. When you inhale, it kind of flattens out and bows downward. When you exhale, it lifts back up. So imagine that pelvic floor is lifting up all the way up behind the belly button. It doesn't go up that high, but just as something to picture in your mind. So inhale, feel the pelvic floor relax and spread. Exhale, feel it engage and lift. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Twice more. In. Exhale to engage and lift. Last time, pelvic floor relaxes. Inhale. Exhale, lift. Wonderful. Go ahead and sit back, either on your pillow or on the bed, and send your legs wide. If you're not on a pillow and you're just sitting on the bed, and you notice that as you sit here, it feels like the tailbone rounds under or your back curls towards the back, then put some height under the hips. We'll scoot just forward toward as if we're kind of coming off of that pillow so that the pelvis tips forward. We want to keep the toes facing up, so if the legs turn inward, we can turn from way up here in the hip sockets to externally rotate the thighs. You have the option to lean forward Hands can come out or in front of you. The reason why we engage and relax the pelvic floor is that it is the basis and the floor of our core. It helps to support so many other structures in the hips and the abdomen, helps with our mobility, with our gait. Pelvic floor toning is important for any body at any stage of life. It's not just for pregnant ladies and the elderly. So it is a subject that is not broached, in my opinion, often enough, and is important for all of us. So if you're less familiar with the concept of the pelvic floor, I encourage you to learn more about it. You can always reach out to me. I'm kind of a pelvic floor nerd. I would be happy to share my knowledge with you. Go ahead and start to sit back. We'll keep the knees wide, soles of the feet together. Bring your heels as comfortably close to you as you can. And then either holding onto the shins, ankles, or feet. We'll keep the spine nice and straight here. We don't want to curl and tuck and round. And then just a little lean forward. So really stretching from within the pelvis. Nice, deep, long breaths, as if every inhale feels like it travels all the way down the length of your body to the pelvic floor, and every exhale exits out the top, the crown of the head. And go ahead and lean back, and then we'll keep this shape, but we'll slide the feet further away from us so that this diamond shape becomes much bigger. And then go ahead and this time, go ahead and give yourself a little round in the back, not a total curl under. We're not thinking of bringing the forehead down, maybe bringing the chest forward. Now sometimes as we fold forward into this shape, you might feel a little catch or a little pulling, maybe in the glutes or the outer thighs. So this shape once in a while can take a couple little wiggles to get comfortably into. It doesn't have to be the biggest stretch you ever did, just something 50 to 80% of your effort and flexibility. Gently start to press back up. And then we will scoot forward off of our pillow. You can set your pillows back behind you for now. And then reach for that, whatever it was, t-shirt, pillowcase, whatever you got. Go ahead and lie down. I'm going to encourage you just to listen to my words here. I'd rather have you just trust your body and listen to what I'm saying than worrying about if what you're doing looks like what I'm doing. I don't want you to have to crank your neck up to look at the screen. So just lie back. And then bend your right knee in towards your chest. Whatever t-shirt or whatever you have, hook it around the sole of your foot. And then start to straighten your right leg any amount so that the sole of the foot is going up towards the ceiling. The leg does not have to be straight. It can be kind of straight. That's definitely okay. I want you to focus more on your foot. So we want to flex the foot so that the toenails are coming back towards the shin and the heel is extending upward. And then we'll start to take like a gas pedal. We're pressing down on the gas pedal and then backing off of it. So just point and flex your foot. And then go ahead and keep the flex in the foot. Take an inhale here. And then exhale, deeply bend your knee, allowing your knee to come outside of your rib cage, so almost towards your armpit. And then inhale, straighten the leg. Exhale, bend. Just with your own breath, back and forth, maybe 3 more times. And then the next time that it's straight or straight-ish, we'll pause there for a couple breaths. Again, no need to stress or strain. This doesn't have to be the biggest stretch sensation you've ever felt. Just enough for today. And then bend into that knee, release the foot, and extend both legs straight and resting on the bed. You can relax your hands down onto your belly and just pause for a moment in between left and right sides. Notice any differences in the sensation of the hip or the leg or the ankle. Notice if you're holding tension anywhere. Let that go with a breath. And then hug your left knee or your opposite knee in towards your chest. Hook onto the sole of the foot, and we'll take that one straight to any degree. Being open to the possibility that left and right sides may have a different range of motion. And being compassionate enough with ourselves to know that that's okay. Lifting the heel and sinking the toes to flex the foot. And then pressing that gas pedal and backing off. Press and back off. Just continuing through that range of motion, the stretch in the calf and the movement of the ankle. Good, and then keep the flex in the foot. Take an inhale. Exhale, bend the knee deeply, bringing it outside of the rib cage. Inhale, bring it straighter. Exhale, deep bend. Continue at your own pace, maybe 3 or 4 more times. Feeling out this range of motion and letting go of expectation about how deep the bend should be or how straight the leg should be. Just do what your body needs today. And this time we'll keep that leg in the straighter position, keeping that flex in the foot, and just pause for a few breaths. And then bend in the knee to release the foot. Set that t-shirt off to the side, straighten both legs, rest your hands on your belly, and just pause. And then go ahead and roll to your side, and we'll press on up. We're going to come over to the side of the bed. So standing on one side of the bed. We're going to start facing the bed. And we're going to take kind of like an abbreviated pigeon pose. So taking one leg up on the bed, we want to keep the hips squared toward the bed as opposed to turning open to the side. And then we'll just kind of lean forward. This opposite leg behind you, you can encourage that heel down towards the floor. It's okay if it doesn't touch. So I want this to be at most 50% of the usual amount of stretch that you would feel in a pigeon pose. We'll get to pigeon pose a little bit later. I just want this to be a gentle introduction. Keep a little squeeze in the inner thighs to help square the pelvis forward. And then press on back and we'll switch sides. Notice if the breath is short or long, or some might call that shallow or deep. And we find any amount of stillness of mind. Maybe even just in those little pauses between your inhale and your exhale, exhale and inhale, where the breath is not moving in or out. There's a little bit of peace there. And go ahead and press on back. And then we'll turn. We're going to take our outside leg forward. And then we're going to bring the inside leg up onto the bed. And we'll kind of inchworm that knee back. And we're going to inchworm these toes forward. So almost kind of like a split, but not quite. We want to go for a quad stretch in this leg that's on the bed. Now, if the foot is not accessible and you can reach your pant leg, it's definitely okay to hold the pant leg. Or you can use our friend the shirt or whatever it is that you have to hook the foot. So do whatever works for you to get a bit of a calf stretch, or excuse me, a quad stretch here. And you can keep your torso as upright or forward as you like. Again, if you try something out, say you lean forward and it ends up stretching you somewhere that doesn't feel quite right, or it feels maybe like a little too much, then just come back. No need to stress or strain here today. And gently let go of the foot, and we'll switch sides. It's up to you based on what your space looks like. I'm just going to spin around, but if you want to stay facing forward and head to the opposite side of the bed, that is definitely fine. So stepping the outside leg forward, inside leg goes back. Continue to inchworm and wiggle walk those feet in opposite directions, and then we'll go for that quad stretch. And then gently release that foot. And we'll come to stand at the side of our bed, facing the bed. We're going to step pretty generously away. Press your hands into the mattress. Step your feet really nice and wide, much wider than your hips. Then we're just going to lean the hips back and allow the head to dangle in between the shoulders, opening up in the chest. Let this be a gentle opening. No need to press the chest deeply down towards the floor. This will be an introduction to our next shape. And press the hands down to come on back up. And we'll return to the bed where we will stay for the remainder of our practice. So, We're going to move into a variation of a back bend, and I want you to really use your wisdom and know what makes sense for your body today. Let go of what we did yesterday or what we think we should be doing tomorrow. And I will offer up a couple of options for you. So, if back bends are not your thing or it's not right for you today, then I'm going to ask you to keep your shoulders on the bed and most of your head on the bed, definitely the neck, so that just the back of the head kind of starts to come off. And then you'll just reach your arms up and over. And you can kind of wiggle and find what version of that works for you. This doesn't have to be a huge amount of sensation. We just want an opening in the front body. Now, if this feels almost right for you, but maybe just isn't quite enough, you can take, if you have like a heavier pillow, like a foam pillow like I have here, you can just add a little weight to the arms. So just feeling that out. If you're wanting a little more from this, then you can scoot so that the tops of the shoulders, our shoulder blades are still pretty supported by the bed. We're going to basket weave the fingers, support the back of the head, keeping your elbows just in your peripheral vision. We don't want them way here, and we don't need them to disappear out to the sides. And then just start to let the weight of the head rest in the basket of the hands. If it's your preference to take the hands to the floor and scoot and come into a big back bend like that, do what makes sense for you. We're going to be here for 10 breaths. So if you've gone somewhere that you are now deciding is not the right place for you to be, then come on back. And let's just settle into this. Focusing on opening the front body. Something that we seldom do. Our front body is usually pretty closed off in most of the physical shapes that we take. Generally, even our sleeping position tends to be pretty curled and rounded forward. Of course, that varies from individual to individual, but think about the shapes that you take throughout your day. And then think about the ways in which this shape can help to unwind that a little bit. In a well-rounded yoga practice, we do postures and counter postures. So generally for each forward fold, there's an upright shape or a back bend. For every left, there's a right. We owe it to our bodies to even out the energies that we expend. Just 3 more breaths here. And then you can gently start to come out of this shape either by sitting forward or rolling to the side. And then we'll press on up. Beautiful. So we've warmed up and stretched our legs a little bit. We're going to get into some deeper stretches in the legs. Now, if you already have a practice of doing the splits, then you can certainly do this without any support. If you're like, what are you talking about? I'm about to do the splits, get away from me. Then it's okay. I would err on the side of using more support than less to start off with, and then taking away as you see fit. So give yourself a nice big stack of pillows underneath, and then you can do that little inchworm of the front toes forward and that back knee back And then we'll just kind of start to settle in. If you feel like your pelvis is kind of opening to the side, then take that tight squeeze of the inner thighs towards one another as if your legs were scissors trying to close. If at any point you feel like you want more support or less support, please make those adjustments as you see fit. Now, whether you're using support or not, it's likely that your knees are a little bit bent, and that's okay. It has to do with the squishy surface that we're on. The point is not to get the legs perfectly straight. We just want that sensation of opening in the back of the front leg and the front of the back leg. If you'd like to spend more time here, press pause. Otherwise, we'll gently come on out of this and switch our sides. Again, starting with more support than you think you're going to need. And that can be 10 pillows. It can be no pillows. But whatever it is, be kind to yourself. Even in this shape, I don't want more than 80% of your usual amount of stretch. And I want 0 strain, so the breath should be easy here. Great. Gently start to come on out of this. Then we're going to set up for a supported pigeon pose. So taking some level of support underneath the pelvis and some level of support under the forearms. I'm going to start with the right leg, so swinging that right leg around front, extending left leg back, and settling on in. If pigeon pose, even with some support like this, is not comfortable for you and you prefer to take this shape on your back, then I will show you how to do that. If you're happy here, stay here. So to take this shape on your back, we'll actually get rid of all of that support. 2 options. 1, go ahead and lie on down, hook your right ankle over your left knee, and just pull that whole shape towards you. Another version of this is to just hold the foot and the knee of the right leg and extend the left leg long. So, whichever version of this shape you have taken, take another 5 breaths. And slowly start to press back. Send that right leg behind. If you're upright, just simply switch your legs if you're on your back, and we'll switch sides. Give yourself the support that you so well deserve. Notice if the mind starts to wander towards something else. Use the breath as a tool to encourage it to come back to this moment. Use the sensations of the body to encourage it to stay here in this moment. The past is gone and the future will come whether we predict or imagine it or not. So let's just be right here. What might that be like for you? One more deep breath. And then start to press on up. And swing your legs around. Wiggle the legs out in front of you. Then I'm going to show you a couple of variations of legs up the wall. So one variation would be to set all of your pillows off to the side. We'll scoot our hips way all the way up to the wall or to the headboard. And then send the legs up. Now, no matter what variation of this shape you take, I want to make sure that you have a little bend in the knees, that they're not locking back towards the wall. You can take a pillow underneath the hips if you like, for a little bit of extra height there. Or you can take a pillow on top of the hips for a little weight and grounding. So decide what you need from this shape. Careful with the knees. And then just gaze at the tips of your toes. And imagine some sort of ease or softness, starting at the toe tips and then melting down the legs towards the pelvis and hips. That ease floods the belly and the chest, extends down the arms, into the shoulders, neck and jaw, face and scalp, until your whole body just feels sweet and at ease. Let every exhale encourage your body to just melt into the support of your bed. And that line, that border between you and your bed starts to blur, as if it feels like you're just melting down into it, becoming part of that soft, supportive surface. And start to take a deeper bend to the knees, soles of the feet, walking down towards the headboard. And then a little roll off to the side. And then we'll press on up. Getting ready for our last shape, Shavasana. Take your pillow under your head. And then you can even take, if you have one for each leg, if that seems like that's a version of this shape that appeals to you, or under the arms, or anything you want. Take up space. This whole bed is for you. Hands can be extended out to the side, or even rest on the belly. Wherever you are, stay there as I start to sit on up. I will virtually hold this space for us while you rest. And when it's time to be guided out, I will let you know, but for now, just close your eyes. Allow yourself to rest and relax. There's nothing to do, nothing to think about, nowhere to be. Just body and breath. If you'd like to stay here longer, feel free to do so. If you're ready to be guided out, then start to deepen your inhalations and lengthen your exhalations. If the hands are not already resting on the belly, then you can place one palm on the chest and one palm on the belly, or both on the belly. Starting to feel that wave-like rise and fall. Invitation to stretch the arms up overhead, reaching from fingertip to toe tip for a good morning stretch. And then roll to one side and pause for a breath or two. When you're ready, press yourself up to a comfortable seat. Whenever you arrive in that seat, sit up tall and press your palms to touch in front of your chest, either gazing softly down at your fingertips or closing your eyes. Anjali Mudra. When we press our palms together, we show a gesture of gratitude. Bring to mind one thing about yourself that you are grateful for. I invite you each day before you get out of your bed to bring to mind 5 things that make you feel grateful. I'm grateful for having shared this time with you. Let us end with our breath in unity, so exhale fully to prepare. Inhale deeply. Open mouth, let it go. Thank you, yogis. Namaste. Thank you so much for joining me in my room. I know we lost our sunlight, but that's our yoga practice for the day. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.